So we back to the crack era, and now we're gonna get up on the killing. So after all the chaos in the neighborhood with the dope men and the old people and the women, we started to see bodies falling. It got to the point where the dolphins had started to basically be the people who kept up most of the shit. When people got on dope, they were their lowest form of themselves. So they would do anything, say anything. Hell, they started to kill one another. They were poisoning each other with battery acid. Uh, there were certain ones they were setting up that had, come from decent families, and they would figure out their routines and have them beat up and robbed whenever they got dropped off from their families. Because a lot of families, just because their family member was on drugs, they didn't just necessarily discard them and throw them away. A lot of people tried to help their family members. But the crack was powerful. A lot of women got on crack through men, and a lot of men could shake back or be functioning dope heads, but a lot of women, they just never could shake back. And there was an instance where a woman was from where I'm from, and she was, somebody at one point in her life. Everybody was somebody, but she was like a prominent person. And she got on drugs just by, being with the crowd, the upper echelon, and she got turned out, and she became just a zombie walking the street. And it was funny to see her on the drugs, because people who knew her before would always talk about how educated she was and how she drove Cadillacs and she went to this university and that university. Well, she was one of the ones that was killed also. And I remember being a kid, about middle school, and I would see her walking around with a fur coat, and I would say, "Why does that lady always wearing a fur coat?" I would ask, and they say, "Because she used to have fur coats and this, that, and the third, but she got on that dope, and now she just all fucked up in the head. She thinks she's still who she used to be." And I just, would look at these people when I was, in town with my parents and stuff, and I would be like, damn, I don't ever want to, get to this point in my life. Because, the dope took their mind. And the dope brought the worst out of a lot of people. If you was a child molester and it was in you, that dope brought it out you. If you was a killer, that dope brought it out you. If you was a thief, that dope brought it out you. Whatever you was deep down inside, that dope would bring it out you. And it was so many people that were affected by crack inadvertently. Like, it may not have been in your household, but it was next door at your neighbor's house, or someone you just knew on a personal level, their family member was on it. And then you had families where everybody in the house was a part of it. The sons might have been selling it, the mama and daddies might be on it, the sisters, old man might be selling it too, and it's just a generation of crack in a household. And we watch crack go through families where the person will be selling the crack, next thing you know they're on the crack, next thing you know their old lady on the crack, then they have kids, the kids they fucked up from the crack, so they became what they call I forgot what they used to call it back in the day, but they would get a crazy check. And that's what they call it. So SSI, the kids would start getting SSI because they was born addicted to crack. And so they would get a crazy check, and they would get the checks on I think they said it was the third or the fifth or some shit like that. And they would get the checks, and you'll see them wearing, brand new Jordans, and they'd be fitted up, and that became like a little trend. Everybody getting a crazy check, and even if you wasn't a crack baby, a lot of people back in the day was trying to get them crazy checks, because that's what it was all about. People was always trying to beat the system some kind of way. So if your child didn't even pronounce something right, something wrong with them, take them to the doctor and get them diagnosed with X, Y, and Z so they can get Social Security. So, it was a cycle of that going on. And a lot of people really did need the SSI, and the other half of them was just fucking off trying to get some money. But anyway, that short stopped a lot of people in the future. And once the killing started, we started having people, you know, just dead at the rest stop, just randomly. You don't know what the fuck happened. Then these younger dudes that were selling the crack, they had got to the point where when they ain't had no more work, they started trying to, use wax and sell them to them dope fiends. And one thing about a dope fiend is this: when they want that crack, they want that crack. And if you try to fuck over them, they are going to come back and they're going to kill you, especially if they are functioning crackhead. See, it was a lot of functioning crackheads. It wasn't just people that was walking around like zombies. It was people who went to work every day and smoked dope on the weekends, exercised, ate halfway decent, and didn't look like a zombie. And those were the most dangerous dope heads. Those were the ones that would come back and light the whole block up if you try to fuck over them. And that happened. A young guy sold a dope fiend some wax. The dope fiend came back and laid his ass down. He didn't kill him, but he fucked him up. He never walked the same after that. And it was, many young dudes that didn't know no better. They didn't know what they was up against. Because you got to think, you're in the 90s now. A lot of these people that's on the dope in the 90s possibly was the first dope dealers. So they know when the dope is right, and they know when it's some bullshit. And of course, if you give them wax, they know damn well that's motherfucking wax. So that went on. And, a lot of times the functioning dope heads was the most disgruntled ones. So they would fight. They would want to fight you. A lot of them young guys, they couldn't handle them. These dudes was cock strong. And there was a point in time where, these young dudes, they had to take matters in their own hands, and they laid a couple of them functioning dope heads down. And where I'm from is small, so people know what's what, and what they did. It's one of the reasons why I'm not saying where I'm from or names or anything like this, because a lot of this stuff is to protect other people and myself. I know who's who and what's what, and that's just what it is. So when you're talking about killings and different things like that, you got to walk a thin line when you're telling the story. So basically, that's how the 90s was as far as being in a small rural town and crack coming through. And it's many people out here that got these same stories that I got. They watched our neighborhoods transform from being flourishing neighborhoods to damn near just abandoned buildings. And like I said, once the old people died, their children most likely was on dope, so they couldn't take over the property and take the land and keep shit going. The land went back to the city, and it became an abandoned property. And it's one of the reasons why so many black people lost property. Crack took a lot of the wealth out of the black neighborhood. They took the lives of the people and they took the future of a lot of generations. So you have to start from the 80s on up. And when a person tells you that crack destroyed the black neighborhood, they are 1,000% correct. Now, getting on crack was a choice for whoever got on it. But the consequences behind it, they could never fathom what was going to happen to them and their family. So let it be a learning point for any young person now about drugs. I know there's a pill popping epidemic. We still got everybody sipping syrup half of the time. We got people that are out here experimenting with other different drugs that they got, over the counter medicines. Look, having a sober mind is the best mind that you can have. The world is completely jacked up as far as morals and values. The last thing a person should do is ever get on drugs or alcohol and become an addict. Because once you become an addict, you're not yourself anymore and you are not controlling yourself anymore. The substance is. And you will fall victim to a more evil entity in the world. There's levels to this shit when it comes to doing drugs. It's a spiritual thing that's going on in this world. And it's 2020, and I know y'all can hear the fireworks and the shooting in the background, but I'm going to keep going. It comes to a point where you have to get control of yourself and say, I'm not going to be a part of this bullshit. I grew up around drugs and alcohol. I saw it all. I never did a drug in my life. Of course, I drank alcohol, but I didn't get caught up in the hype because it just wasn't for me. And it takes a strong person to walk amongst a lot of the bullshit. You can't live in the world and avoid all this type of stuff, but it's going to be around. So you need to strengthen your mind to where you can walk among the vultures. Things are not going to get better in the world. It's going to get worse. If you look around compared to now and 25 years ago, a lot of shit has changed. A lot of shit that was considered taboo is now accepted now in our society. So just imagine in 25 more years what people will be accepting and calling it normal. Thanks for listening, and I will be doing more videos. Y'all be safe out there. Take care of yourself and take care of your family. Peace.